Okay, thank you very much. Firstly, it is a private or personal application made by Mr. Douglas seeking a refugee status in Canada. And of course, one of the facts was that, in your application for refugee status, you have to come with information and facts that would allow them to accede to your request. Now, the truth of the matter is that I did not think that whether or not the PDP, Mr. Douglas said that he was a member of PDP from 1999 to 2007, and that in 2007 he decamped to APC, and between 2007 and 2017 he was a member of the APC. Now, we need to get it clear. The Canadian Federal Court in June made the pronouncement that the PDP is like a terrorist organization, not that they have been declared as a terrorist organization. We need to put it in perspective. Now, in the Canadian law, under the Criminal Code of Canada, the Canadian Criminal Code, Section 83, subsection 01 of the Canadian Criminal Code, define a terrorist, an act of terrorism to be any political, religious, ideological act that was done with the intention of causing death, serious bodily harm, intimidation, risk to any life. They define such act of intimidation, any act that will lead to death or serious body harm, or that can put somebody in threat of death, as a terrorist act under the Canadian Criminal Code. So it is based on that. They saw the activities of PDP as at the time the young man claimed to be a member of PDP, that PDP was involved in subversion of the democratic structure, intimidation, killing of political opponents, candidates, smashing of ballot papers. So in all this, looking at the Criminal Code of Canada, those actions amount to terrorism, terrorist activities. So it is based on the Criminal Code of the Canadian Criminal Code that they made that pronouncement, because they have to judge him by the law in Canada. So, and looking at the activities of PDP within that period, of course, you and I do not need to debate about the various information. You and I, we are knowledgeable of the fact that even in a state, you saw a case where a woman in Kogi State ran into her house and this woman was burned down. During election, we have in history that in the 2007-2011 election, over 100 lives were lost just for electoral violence. So the Canadian Criminal Code sees any act by a member of an organization in pursuit of the object of that organization that will lead to death or serious bodily harm as an act of terrorism. So what is the implication? The PDP and the APC cannot appeal because they were not a party to that suit. It was just a fact that was brought to their knowledge. And the fact that the Canadian government has their own perception of what the activities of our organizations, our political parties, what they are doing in Nigeria. So you don't blame the young man, you blame the political party. And if you see in one of their, in the judgment, they said that the leadership of PDP was aware of those actions. They did not do anything to stop it or condemn it or to discipline their members. So this is talk about corporate responsibility and liability. So we don't need to blame the Canadian government or the Canadian federal court. What it tells us is that as members of political party, Nigerians should be aware that their activities, the things they do in pursuit of political power, that it is in the globe, we're in a global village, that is in the knowledge of everybody, that people are watching, people are seeing us, and that is what this is one of the implications of some of these activities of our politicians.